Hey, Robbie, sometimes I think kids just don't know how to act like adults. I mean, has it gotten out of hand with you millennials? Do you just act like children?
Pops, yeah, we do.
Really? You agree with that?
No, you're wrong. Come on. What are you thinking? What are we doing here? Let's go.
This is Counter Mentors with Kelly and Robbie Riggs. Finally, a place where you can get both perspectives on challenges in the workplace from a boomer and a millennial. The Counter Mentor is the new leader. Join us as we show you how to blend the very best of both generations, young and old. This is Counter Mentors, and here are your hosts, Kelly and Robbie Riggs.
Hey, it's Counter Mentors. Welcome aboard. Great to have you as we get started on episode number 19. Robbie, it's can't you act like an adult? I mean, it's one of those things I've been dying for because I think finally I might get a few shots in left or right. Hey, it's countermentors.com is where you find us. You can follow us on Twitter as well. No, you're not agreeing with that either. Hey, it is the show where we tell you millennials to get a clue and get with the program. We tell you boomers need to change a freaking program. It's not working very well. Right. But hey, good news, by the way. Big news coming out of the Counter Mentor camp this week, right?
Oh, man, we had an outstanding week last week. It was fun. The Pops was up in Boston. We had some big milestones. We met with our friends at Nicholas Brealey, who is now Hachette Publishing.
Absolutely.
Met our editorial team, who our forthcoming book next January.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we got a book coming. Yeah, there you have it.
Oh, the countdown has begun. We're really, really excited.
We are so excited, man.
Now we have to write a book, which is
whoa. Hey, we got to do what?
Well, let's be clear. I will be writing the book, and the Pops will be.
I'll be managing.
Supervising.
I'll be managing.
To manage a millennial. It's gonna be crazy. So that was awesome. Big shout out to our friends at Hachette. What a great day, and it was so fun to meet their team. The energy, the enthusiasm. It was awesome. It fired us up. And the Pops was a guest speaker in my class that I teach at Johnson and Wales. So Pops now guest lecturer.
I am a guest lecturer. It's official now. But hey, let's go back to the book. I'm so excited. It's going to release January 2018. It's called Counter Mentor Leadership: How to Unlock the Potential of the Four-Generation Workplace. Yeah, it's going to be a big deal. And by the way, you can pre-order in late March. I mean, it's not going to release till January 2018, but they will start taking pre-orders pretty soon. So, hey, we are pretty excited about it. Hey, Rob, listen, we kind of got into this. There was an article from ESPN called "Time for Odell Beckham Jr. to Grow Up," and we're going to get into that article a little bit. But it's become something that I hear pretty commonly from boomer managers in particular. They're like, millennials they just act like kids. They're so out there, I'll just let it go at that.
Hold on. Breaking news. Kids are acting like kids. Oh man, we should call Anderson Cooper.
Hold up a second. Now wait a minute.
He's gonna
we can't accuse you little millennials of acting like children. You'll get all angry at us.
Oh my gosh. What are we talking about here?
Is it fair? Come on. Well, listen, I'll tell you what we're talking about. Here we go. We're talking about Odell Beckham Jr. The hole in the wall, reportedly created by Odell Beckham Jr., who's 24, created by his fist, was not the reason the New York Giants lost. No, that would have been the two passes he dropped and several other that he got through. They got smoked by the Packers. So then
the hottest team in football at the time. No, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Okay.
After the game, we have an excuse?
Keep going.
Were they hot? That's not fair.
No, that's
Odell
fine.
Beckham Jr. probably thought it wasn't fair. Well, anyway, I digress. He says his first career postseason game was a dud, complete with a post-game incident, again, that reflects poorly on his maturity. Not my words, ESPN writer. The ESPN Giants lose.
ESPN, old white guy. Yeah, no, awesome. Okay. No, keep going. Okay. Does it get
Wow, did you just make the assumption that the writer was an old white guy? Really?
Let's see, Sal Palantonio, Ed Werder, Chris Berman. Shall I go on? Shall I go on?
Well, if I kept up with all the young ones, I would rebut their names, but I don't know them. I don't know who they are. Anyway, I know they're there because I see them. I just don't know their names. All right. So when the Giants lose, quote, there's always something with Beckham, whether it's hitting the kicking net, losing his cool, banging his head against the wall, complaining about the officials. There's always some sort of drama. Serious question, son. And I'm going to ask you to be objective, really. No sarcasm.
All right. So don't make any snowflake comments.
I won't.
All right.
Do you think millennials are, I don't know, in some measurable way, a little more childish or a little more immature in their behavior, especially in the workplace? And is there a good reason for it? But I mean, do you think it's a fair criticism?
Now make sure you're sitting down over there, Pops. Yes, I do. I think that there are. Now, hold on. Let me finish.
19 shows. I finally got a shot in, baby.
Let me finish.
Okay.
I do believe that there are times that we have two problems here, two things at play. Number one, yes, millennials are younger. They're kids. So they are going to make mistakes that we attribute with kids. And you know what? We're going to see it with digital natives. And you know what? We saw it with Gen X and we saw it with boomers. When you're young, you make mistakes. We millennials did not make this up. Okay. We have not, to use your phrase, but we have not cornered the market on making mistakes when you're young. We haven't.
Okay.
However, what I want to say, which is the second part of this, we define, what is accepted behavior has changed. Agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So as young, a new generation pushing the envelope on what is acceptable, and we've seen this really, really strong. We spent many hours discussing how millennials have pushed that envelope. There is a different expectation for us of what is allowed. Now, I am not saying that punching a hole in the wall in a building is acceptable behavior in the workplace. And let's remember, for Odell Beckham Jr., a locker room is the workplace. Let's be very, very, very clear.
Yeah, and he put a hole in the wall.
That's exactly right. And I am not saying that's okay.
So I'm going to make one point in the middle of your explanation because I can't let you get too much momentum. It'll wind up going against me. Here's the thing. Millennials are doing, what we boomers did at 15 and 16 and 17 years of age, you boomers are doing in your mid-20s because you're still living at home with mommy and all that kind of nonsense. And don't tell me that's not true because hey, I got the data. Hang on. I have it right here. In fact, from marketwatch.com. Hang
fantasy
on now.
world are you living in?
5 charts that prove today's 30-year-olds are not adults. And one of them, they're still living at home, highest ever, 75 years. Go ahead and argue with that.
Yeah, so to all my friends that watch in the Pacific Northwest and are eco-conscious and know that boomers have destroyed the environment, I apologize that the Pops is printing things off. I have things on my mobile device.
This is called a distraction, son. Get back on point. You're losing this deal.
I had a CEO client tell me once that you don't answer the question you're asked. You answer the question you want to ask. You want to be asked.
Okay, fair enough.
I disagree. There's not some delay in millennials, maturation process. No, completely disagree.
No, hang on. Even your boy Simon Sinek says that.
No.
You got the bromance with Simon, and he says it.
No, you're taking Sinek's quote out of context.
No, I'm not. I'm taking the quote that you shared with me last week.
That is not true. Here's the point. I believe that there are behaviors that we have. By the way, our Gen X and Boomer parents allowed us and fostered us. We talked about this on the show before. We never failed. It was always about us. We were always the center of attention growing up. So
Agreed.
We bring that behavior to the workplace. No one has ever told us no. No one has ever taught us. Pops, we've talked a lot about the importance of boundaries, both setting expectations. We call those expectations in the workplace. We call them boundaries at home with our children.
Yep.
But we talked about the importance of setting boundaries, setting expectations. And when that doesn't happen, this is the result. I would venture to guess that no one has ever told someone like Odell Beckham Jr., who was put in the limelight in New York and was this rock star and was catch of the year, rookie of the, accolade after accolade after accolade. No one sat him down and said, Odell, probably not a great move to blank. Okay.
Right.
So this is a learning experience. Okay. What you didn't talk about in this article is that the reason he was catching all this flack was because he went down with a bunch of his boys down to Miami on his off day. Now, that is his off day. He can do whatever he wants on his off day.
Hang on, time out. Let us take a pause and let us go back into the article. Beckham, 24, is young. He's not a rookie. He just completed his 3rd professional season.
He is the leader of that receiving corps, by the way.
Including taking that Miami trip after the regular season finale. Now, on a serious note, this is one of the things that I think millennials do poorly. They can justify their behavior at some logical, rational side, but they don't take into any sort of idea the perception of other people. You know, the reason you get criticized for things like that is because the perception is very real. When you lose, you're going to take a lot of crap. So what happens is...
Hold on, time out. I want to jump in. You just said something very important, that when you are young, this isn't a millennial thing. Let's stop somehow attributing this to millennials. When you're young... Like
I said, we were doing it at 18. Your boys are doing it at 25.
Stop. When you are young, you have to learn that it's not just about you. You have to be aware of the perception of you. Do I think what Odell and his boys did was wrong? No. Do I think it was ill-advised? Would I have advised against it? Yes.
Does it hurt his brand? Does it hurt his reputation? Did it hurt the Giants?
Did it hurt the Giants? Yes. Did it hurt his brand or his reputation? No, because he's built his brand about being – you've seen his hair. You've seen the way – no.
Yeah, so it's all about Odell Beckham Jr.
That's his brand. But now, in a team sport, did he hurt his team? Now, remember, this is his job in the workplace. Did he hurt his team? Yes. And I would have advised against it. No way would I have stood for that.
So was he selfish?
Man. This is making me uncomfortable.
Here's what he said.
I don't like it.
Here's his rationalization. Now, see, here's what I know is when a lot of people have real problems saying, you know what, if I had to do it over again, maybe not the best idea. I don't think I did anything wrong per se, but clearly it creates a lot of perception issues. Probably should have rethought
agreeing to record this show. Probably should have thought through this one. Not so great in hindsight.
Yeah, I get it. So here's what he said. I think it did a great job at creating distractions for us. Yeah, Beckham, it did. Well, not the good kind, though. And he said, and it's unfortunate. That's just the way the world is. There's no way you can connect something that happened 7 days ago to Sunday. Yeah, I can, because if it's a distraction – and if the media is asking every player about it, and if it creates a drag on the organization, absolutely you can connect it.
I disagree, man. I mean, we're talking about professionals. The fact that he spent
obviously not, son. Obviously not a professional.
A week in Miami. By the way, with all the wide receivers, this was a team-building activity. The entire receiving unit went down to Miami for 1 day. They didn't get drunk. They didn't get hammered. They weren't doing illegal drugs, and they came back. If they are unable to create a game plan and execute, that has nothing to do with them taking a week off. Now, here's the counterpoint. Hold on, here's the counterpoint. In that week, they could have been studying film. They could have been blah, blah, blah. But I'm sorry, 1 day of catching balls was not going to be the difference between him catching those 2 drops. So let's set that aside. I do think it was a mistake. I want to be really clear. I would not have advised it. I think he shouldn't have done it. And I think Odell understands that. I think he will learn from this. However, I agree with Odell. I think it's stupid. I think it's ignorant. I think it's naive, choose your word, to think that because he didn't catch balls out of a jug machine that day, he played worse. That's complete garbage. And you know that. You played wide receiver.
I'm not talking about the physical side of it, but I can tell you this. It's his first playoff game ever. Right. Perception is everything in professional sports.
Yep.
And I did not know, nor was it reported anywhere I saw, that it was a team-building thing and 4 guys, all the wideouts.
All the wideouts.
So that was poorly done in terms of him communicating it. But I will say this. Professionals, the guys that win Super Bowls, they leave nothing to chance. Yeah. They are watching film. They are mentally preparing themselves. They're building better ideas about what they're going to do on Sunday or whenever the game day. That was a mistake.
Do I get to go about talk about Tom Brady now, or
no? We already know that your biggest romance is actually with Team 12.
Okay, so but Pops, you're spot on. I can't disagree.
I think it's at some level it's a lack of maturity, and at some level it's not acting like an adult. Now I give him.
That's not a millennial problem.
No, I agree with that.
Being young problem.
Listen, I've given you a hard time about it, but I will tell you this. I really do think that millennials are immature longer because they've been coddled and because they have a different arrangement with parents and authority and everything else.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think you expect, listen, to get really old back in the day, I mean, at 17, 18, 19, you were going out on your own. You were having to fend for yourself because your family had to cut you loose because they couldn't afford to keep you. And you were old enough and strong enough and well enough to work. Now there's not that pressure. So I think the pressure to grow up is less
So I'm struggling this for a couple of reasons. Number one, we're being incredibly general, right?
But those generalizations
I'm a
exist because the data supports it.
I left at 18 and didn't look back, right? I paid for my own school, paid for my own job, got my own play. I mean, so
you got raised right, big boy. I got you out of the house.
So my point is, we're making some big generalizations that the data would support, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
The data would support.
For instance, here's one. 1 in 3 millennials now live with their parents.
Here's my point. The data is going to support that, but I don't. It is fair based on living at home to say that you're less mature, right? Let's think about all the things that these millennials living at home have accomplished. Okay, you can start up a
They've consumed copious amounts of beer. They've played hundreds of hours of video games. Let's see. Am I leaving anything out? They've avoided rent for many, many years.
So let's do a root cause analysis, shall we? This, I'm a consultant.
You don't lose wealth. Did you know that?
Let's do a root cause analysis. Who owns that house they're living in? Just answer these one word answers, please. Who lives in?
Boomer.
Who allows them to live there?
Boomer.
Who buys that beer?
That I don't know. I can't answer.
Who bought that Xbox?
I do not know the answer to that.
Who? I mean, what?
Gosh, do you hear yourself?
Right back at you.
Do you people, you millennials, do you ever take responsibility for yourselves?
I think we have to, and this is where let's. I've made my point. You know I'm right, so
yep.
I will give you a win here. I think that this Odell Beckham Jr. example is a perfect microcosm of the growing up young people have to do. Now, do I 100% agree with you that we are not growing up, we are not maturing as fast? The data would say that we are living at home more, but I think that we're able to do more at an even younger age now. So on some,
listen, I'm not talking about technical capabilities. I'm not talking about intellect.
You're just talking about maturation.
I'm just talking about maturity.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So let's kind of segue. Let's do this. What is adult behavior? What is adult behavior in the workplace now? Because clearly, I think we're going to agree it's probably changed. But
yeah.
What is
it's not punching a hole in the wall.
Yeah, we would agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I think this is an opportunity for Odell to learn. I think he will learn. I hope he does learn. If you look at some of the great, players that we've seen in the past that have gone through these behavior challenges or have had tempers, and they've been at all positions, right? We stereotypically, and I apologize for our viewers who aren't football fans, but we stereotypically attribute this to a wide receiver, don't we? Right? They're the divas. It's all about them. We could roll out that list of who those people are.
Sure.
But I think that those people, those wide receivers would say to Odell, this is a learning thing you have to go through. We all did. This is a maturation process. So that's where I'm at on that. I think that the trip to Miami was fine. He didn't do anything wrong from the doing it, but he didn't consider the consequence, which was the perception. So
it reminds me, who was that quarterback that was drafted the same year as Eli Manning and went to the Chargers? And he melted down with a reporter, and he wound up being
he was the number one pick. No, it was Peyton Manning's year.
Manning's year.
Ryan Leaf.
Yeah. Ryan Leaf.
Yeah,
there's another good example. Well, the interesting thing about it is I think when you talk about boomers have this sense that adult behavior has to do with having self-awareness, having an awareness of context and what's
putting your butt in the chair at 7:55.
No. I'm talking about behavior. I'm talking about the things sometimes what'll happen. In fact, I had an ongoing conversation with someone this week about being more than willing to call out the boss in public. To me, that's immature. You want to talk to the boss, do so in private, but calling him out in public. And we were sort of having this debate about what's appropriate and what's not.
Right.
Being blunt about something, really giving your true opinion, I'm totally good with that if the boss asks. But telling the boss he's an idiot in front of other people because he's wrong, to me, you could be right. But again, I think that makes you immature.
Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, I get that, but I also think that boomers equate. So the whole premise of this show, kind of anchoring back to the beginning, is why can't you act like an adult? And I think that boomers equate. Oh, millennials don't act like adults because, they're on the Snap Face and the Insta book or, whatever. And, or they want to work from home 2 days a week. That's not professional. Well, what are you talking about?
Or they're not in their chair at 8 o'clock.
They don't need to get with the program. Boomer needs to change the program, right? I mean, that's a lot of what we're talking about. So this is one of those things where I think we both have strong opinions that both boomers and millennials need to adapt. Look, as a millennial in the workplace, you need to understand that there's right and wrong times to be on this device.
Right.
There are.
Right.
And that is a maturity thing. Boomers,
Right.
the fact that you demand and say that it's wrong or immature to not your employee that doesn't want to work or wants to work one day from home, that's ridiculous. I can show you study after study after study that proves that person is actually more efficient.
I really feel like now you're trying to change the context of this show so you can win again. It's making me nervous. I agree. Listen, one of the things we see, and again, with apologies to people who are watching because we do talk about sports a lot, but sports is such a great example here because the game has changed dramatically. Name your sport. It's changed dramatically. And the players and their maturity have changed dramatically. And what we see in the really great coaches, the ones that are successful year after year, despite all of those changes, is their ability to adapt. But I would suggest to you that their principles do not change.
Right.
That they still have a high degree of care for things like professionalism and respect and awareness and stuff like that.
But they do understand that you have to adapt those definitions.
Yeah, absolutely right.
That doesn't have the same definition for a 24-year-old millennial as it does for a 54-year-old boomer. And we have to find that middle ground, and that's through setting expectations. And great leaders understand that that's the difference. Look, the hot take here is quite simple. Millennials, get your heads out of your rear ends. And boomers,
yes.
You got to update the program. It's not if I jump, when I jump, you say how high.
No, you're right.
We got to move on. So this truly is both sides. So let's get really tactical. To my millennials out there, listen, you need to understand that there are certain behaviors that are right and wrong in the workplace. And if you're on the fence about something, find that mentor, find that key person in the organization that you can have a real conversation with and ask, okay? Can you have 2 beers at lunch on a Friday? Maybe not a great idea to come back to the office a little saucy, okay? But what's the culture in your workplace? What makes sense? You need to talk to your mentor. Boomers, be open, own that relationship. Understand that your millennials have a different perspective. They learn differently. They operate differently. And seek to own that relationship by starting this conversation and building that bridge. I mean, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And I think it's good advice on both sides, particularly from the millennial, because again, they are the employee. There is a sense in which there's a hierarchy there. I think you should always err on the side of respect and professionalism. Kind of like you said, go find somebody to talk to because it's a real problem. I mean, you can't just say, look, I'm going to do what I want because, this is the way I was raised. What you're saying is I don't have any regard for other people, for other people's ideals, for the values of our company. But boomers, if you don't set those boundaries that Robbie talked about in place clearly in the hiring process, in the interviewing process, then you get what you deserve.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to go all Kelly Riggs on people, but you identified them, you hired them, you trained them, and then you're going to blame them when they screw up?
Yeah. No, I agree. And if you set the boundaries in place, you say, look, this is the kind of people we are. This is the way we do things. But again, I really get wore out with millennials who want to say, well, my boss is an idiot, so I can basically do what I want. No, you can't. No. What you can do is you can make a decision, a choice to go elsewhere. You know what you can't choose to do? Blow up the freaking culture. You can't do that.
No, and you know what? On LinkedIn, in 10 minutes, you can apply for 15 jobs. So it's not 1985. It doesn't take you 3 years to find a new job. It takes you about 5 minutes. So, and look, this is our millennials have such a, this reputation of job hoppers and they're not loyal. And no, it's because they don't want to work for a crappy leader. Newsflash, boomer, you're not good at it. They don't want to work for you, right? It's your problem. Stop blaming your lack of leadership on the people that work for you. It's not their fault.
Gosh, I really hate it when you go back to that every time because I can't argue with it. I can't argue with it. Hey, by the way, before we get out of here, Jeffrey James, the Inc. columnist, in fact, I had him on a previous business radio show. He wrote an article back last summer called The One Horrible Habit That's Holding Millennials Back. And it kind of relates to this whole idea. He says, millennials have been dealt a tough hand. He said, while unemployment is low, many of the jobs available for young people are minimum wage. Millennials with college degrees are struggling with massive student loan debt and few prospects. Okay, he says, that being said, Many, if not most millennials, share an obnoxious habit that limits their career prospects and antagonizes those around them. No, this is good stuff. The habit, constantly talking and writing about themselves. He says, here's a perfect example. He says, here's one of just many, many emails that I get. Hi, Jeffrey. How are you? As economics forecasts get gloomier, I am launching a campaign encouraging the government to place a greater emphasis on business training in our education system. I started a sustainable business age 23 in 2014. During my business journey, I've experienced everything from breakfast one-on-one with some big star and being backstage with another big star to have my bank account balance hit zero to being offered a shop rent for free on Kings Road in London. Please let me know if you're interested in hearing more about this, Jeffrey. I'd love to tell you why I believe young entrepreneurs need more support than they're getting. Thank you for this time. He says, note how every sentence other than the perfunctory "how are you" is all about him. He's obviously a smart guy, but he comes off as if he believes the entire world revolves around him personally. He said, I've seen this obtusely self-centered, that's a college word, son, obtuse, look that one up.
Yeah, when you have an attitude
in communication from dozens of millennials, so much so that I can guess the age of an emailer based on the number of times he or she uses the first person singular.
Wow.
I mean, and
that's incredibly insightful, though, and we see that over and over and over. And look, it's hard because I don't want to constantly say that it's not the millennials' fault because they're making that decision. They're doing. Right. However, Pops, we've talked about this a lot. The millennial, their entire life, it has been all about him or her. And so they need that coaching and that, dare I say, leadership to bring them through that and understand that. Like, James, I appreciate your op-ed, bro, but what are you doing to help solve the problem? Right? I mean, did you respond back and say, wow, you could probably have a lot more success if –
Oh, yeah. He did. He did. He went throughout the balance of it and said a lot of things that would be very helpful. In fact, he said, to be entirely fair, until recently, the baby boomers were the most obnoxiously self-centered generation of all time. I didn't want to throw that one in there, but I'll throw you a bone.
It's true. It's true. And I think what I get sick
But it wasn't our fault.
Right?
We were raised that way.
And tired of, what I get sick and tired of is these boomers sitting in their armchairs in their smoking jackets, smoking their cigars and wisping their scotch and saying, oh, kids these days, they're self-centered. No. Why don't you be part of the solution? You know, we talk all about time about millennials.
Yeah, because you couldn't possibly do it yourself. I mean, you could not possibly grow up on your own.
You know what? You're right. We should call our book Hachette and say, you know what? We're going to cancel the book deal because millennials just need to figure it out. Leadership.
Okay. Now, when you put it like that,
yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
But no, let's be fair. There comes a point in time when a good coach, a good leader is going to say, look, Robbie, you have a choice to make. You can either choose to grow up and act like an adult, or we can't use you.
Well, but coach, I want to do it, but I don't know how.
Okay, fine. We're good. We're on the same page. You want to learn? You want to know how? I think we can get on the same page and we can get something done.
That's exactly right. And you know what, Pops? From our research, from my practical experience with my peers, people I've worked with, the clients, millennials, we do want to get better more than anything. We have higher career aspirations. If you look at the data, than any other generation before us in terms of work-life integration, not work-life balance. So we truly do want to get better and make a difference and make an impact. But the majority of people, they don't know how. So boomers, be a leader.
Oh, geez. People are going to quit listening to the show because I go, every show, Robbie says the same thing over and over. It's getting old.
I saw a thing on LinkedIn today. If you want to be successful, be consistent.
Yeah, absolutely right. Hey, that's going to do it. That's episode 19 in the books. Can't you act like an adult? Hey, the music says we got to get out of here. Hey, you can find more shows just like this one at countermentors.com. Don't forget about the podcast on iTunes. Follow Robbie at Robbie Riggs. Follow me at Kelly Riggs. Great to have you on board. Hey, tell a friend. Love to have more people downloading the pod and watching us. Robbie, that's going to do it. We'll see you next time.
Y'all be good. See ya.
Thanks Thanks for tuning into Counter Mentors with Kelly and Robbie Riggs. For more information about the show, to listen to past shows, or to learn more about how Kelly and Robbie teach companies the counter mentoring process, visit countermentors.com. The Counter Mentors Show is presented by One-on-One Media, Incorporated. All rights reserved. Opinions expressed by guests on the show may not be the opinions of One-on-One Media or the host of the Counter Mentor Show.